The 506th Regiment, 101st Airborne Division of the United States Army began training for World War II in 1942 to help the Allied countries in Europe. Company E, known as Easy Company, trained for 2 years, and on June 6, 1944, they jumped into France to fight Adolf Hitler's German forces in Europe. Easy Company became a turning point in World War II by stopping the Germans from taking complete control of Europe and helped the Allied forces win the war. Easy Company was created for one main purpose. That purpose was to jump into Europe and help the Allied countries defeat Hitler and his soldiers. In 1942, Easy Company reported for training at Camp Toccoa, Georgia. During this training, Easy Company was trained physically and mentally. They were trained physically in many ways. One of these ways was to run up a difficult hill called Mount Currahee. While running up Currahee, Easy Company was timed. If they did not run up the hill and back down in the given amount of time, they would have to run up the hill again, sometimes in full combat gear. The purpose of running up Currahee was to condition and be able to run with full gear. This proved to be very important during the war. Running up hills also trained them mentally. They had to persevere and really think about what they were doing. Another way they were trained was practicing war games. War games trained them to fight with full gear and learn how to position themselves during combat. This helped them become better soldiers and learn what they would face after their jump on D-Day. Another part of Easy Company's training was to practice jumping out of planes. During this training, they had to jump out of a plane just like they would have to do on D-Day. This also trained them how to land after their jump and what to do after they landed. They also had to learn how to pack a parachute. All of Easy Company's training led up to one of the biggest turning points in World War II, the jump into Normandy, France on D-Day. D-Day was one of the biggest turning points in World War II. The official name for D-Day was Operation Overlord. The objective of this mission was to free France from the German forces and to gain control of codenamed beaches, Omaha and Utah. On D-Day, everything was going as planned. They got into planes at Osborne, England, and got into the air. Once they entered airspace above France, the Germans could hear the loud jets, so they shot blindly into the air. Easy Company had to act fast. Planes were starting to get hit, and much of Easy Company was forced to jump early and away from the original drop zone. All of Easy Company were jumping into battle behind enemy lines. Many soldiers were dropped into places that they never thought they would land. When I landed, I was in water over my head, said Bill Wingett. Easy Company member DeWitt Laurie said, "After the drop, I did not hit the ground. I hit a tree and hung there." Easy Company had to go into battle as soon as they landed on the ground. They were also challenged with having to meet up with each other after the jump. After assembling on the ground, the men of Easy Company disabled a battery of 4 German heavy guns on D-Day that threatened forces coming in on Utah Beach. Other members of Easy Company had no one around them, so they had to search and try to find fellow members behind enemy lines. On D-Day, Easy Company was part of 2,000 paratroopers who jumped into France. Overall, on D-Day, 231 paratroopers were killed in action, 183 were missing or prisoners of war, and 569 were wounded. D-Day was one of the biggest turning points in World War II. The Battle of the Bulge was a major turning point in World War II. Easy Company was trapped on all 4 sides by German forces in the Ardennes forest in Belgium. They were trying to gain control of the area of Bastogne because it was a major city that was connected by many main roads that led to other important European cities. The crossroads were major transportation routes that would help the United States and the Allies gain control of the war and move the German forces back into Germany. This battle took place from December 16, 1944 to January 25, 1945. The conditions were harsh with snow and freezing temperatures. This was important because Easy Company did not have the right supplies or equipment for winter weather. Many soldiers struggled to survive during this battle because of the weather and because of the German attack and their location. A very important part of the Battle of the Bulge for Easy Company was digging foxholes. Foxholes were used for protection from the weather, but most importantly, protection from the German artillery and gunfire. In this battle, the German artillery was much stronger than the Americans. Easy Company had limited ammunition and weapons. There were two main reasons Easy Company was undersupplied. The first was because they were cut off from all of the other American and Allied forces. The second reason was because of the snow, cold weather, and fog that did not allow airdrops to resupply Easy Company. Easy Company fought through the harsh weather conditions, lack of supplies, and constant German attacks for 40 days and held their position. By holding their position and taking the cities of Bastogne and Foy, they pushed the Germans back toward Germany. This allowed the Allied forces to move in after 40 days and forced the Germans to retreat. This battle was important because the war started to shift into Germany. This was a big turning point in the war because the Germans would have to defend their home country, and this would start the beginning of the end of World War II in Europe. Victory in Europe came on May 8th in 1944. This was almost 3 years after Easy Company reported to Camp Toccoa for paratrooper training, 11 months after Easy Company jumped into Europe on D-Day, and 4 months after winning the Battle of the Bulge. After the war, Easy Company was referred to as the Band of Brothers because they were so close and did so much together. Members of Easy Company were heroes and were interviewed almost 60 years after they served. Carwood Lipton and their leader, Major Dick Winters, remembered the men of Easy Company.
Talking to his men, he said, "From this day to the ending of the world, we in it shall be remembered. We lucky few, we band of brothers. For he who today sheds his blood with me shall be my brother."
Do you remember the letter that Mike Ranney wrote me? You do. Do you remember how I ended it? I cherish the memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day when he said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?" Grandpa said no. But I served in a company of heroes.